And I believe Ash was an AD carry. Is that correct?
Yes, and statistically, I believe he was the worst AD carry at Scouting Grounds, if I remember correctly. Looking at the AD carries, yep, Ash was the worst.
That just goes to show, as me and you were talking about before. Well, actually, here we are in the draft. Team Rhombus, I believe, Team Rhombus has now started up. They are on their ban phase, so we should transition over to that, Hyper.
Yeah, Team Rhombus head bans Yasuo as their first pick. I'm not sure if the mid laner from Come Dawn likes to play that pick a lot, or it is just a panic thing or a troll pick. Leona, a much more feasible ban, I think, going towards that support in white gold. Honestly, I think that it's awesome that if given that name, that he plays a champion like Leona. And Talon, another ban, taking it away from the, honestly, I'd say off of Kyrtos.
Absolutely. And something to note about Team Rhombus's bans is both of those are technically flex picks, so they have some double utility. And then Come Dawn answers with a very expected ban.
Okay, I see why, because Kyrtos is a Yasuo one-trick.
I see. One-tricks are definitely good to ban out in this style of match.
752 games. Do not give that man Yasuo. Also, Ornn, another ban that comes out. It's just right now what we're seeing is just standard bans, except for the standard bans, target bans, standard stuff we expected to see. Leona, Ezreal, very good bans for the meta. Again, Ezreal, as we talked about, to death earlier. You cannot ignore the fact that Ezreal is powerful at the moment.
And then we see Shyvana by Come Dawn as well. Something we didn't really talk of, but something that is seeing some comeback into the jungle. You can power farm and be the late game carry often that your team needs while still being a bruiser.
One thing I do have to question is banning Ornn on blue side. I don't necessarily see it. I can see wanting to pick the Xayah first, I guess, instead. But I think I'm not sure that Xayah is that valuable of a pick that it would be immediately worth banning away Ornn and denying yourself that chance to pick Ornn or another powerful pick like the Shyvana and forcing Come Dawn to pick the Ornn and to ban the Ornn instead.
Perhaps. Maybe it's just the fact, that their top laner does not play Ornn, and so they can't afford to give it over. And we see that Varus answered a strong lane opponent against the Xayah, and now we will see what they pick for their second draft.
One thing about Varus is that he synergizes extremely well with Press the Attack. If you wait after those first 3 auto attacks, it also stacks your W passive, your Blight. And then if you proc it with one of your other abilities, that damage is amplified as well. Also, we have the Xayah Rakan bot lane for Team Rhombus head, combined with the very powerful jungle pick of Jin Zhao. Jin Zhao, probably, in my opinion, the strongest jungle champion at the moment, purely because of how overtuned his kit is and how high his damage numbers is, combined with how good he is with Press the Attack. Jarvan, I believe, is still good, not as good as Jin Zhao.
Absolutely, and I think it was smart, though, of Come Dawn to solidify Jarvan right now as a flex pick. They have not shown somebody who would definitively have to go top or go jungle. And now we see a Diana ban, which is absolutely a target ban, as that is not considered a meta pick.
No, not by a long shot. In addition, Diana doesn't really synergize too well with any of the runes at the moment. She does okay with Electrocute. She doesn't really synergize well with Airy or Comet. And Predator, I've seen a Predator Diana work. I'm not saying that it's good because I haven't seen more than one game. So we also see a Malzahar ban. Malzahar, a very strong mid laner right now. As Reddit analysts like to say, it's the pick that lost SKT Worlds.
Absolutely.
I agree with them.
Well, I do agree with them. And, when you lock in Malzahar, you basically solidify the fact that the enemy ADC has wasted 1,300 gold on a QSS. And we see a Shin ban as Come Dawn's last ban.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of picks here that we've seen at Scouting Grounds today in terms of the bans from Come Dawn, except for that Diana. We're seeing these picks where it just comes out. The Maokai, another very powerful top lane ban. Because, again, the knee-jerk reaction is that Jarvan is going into the jungle because of the fact that the Jarvan top lane has been weakened from the rune changes. Yes, he's still good with Grasp of the Undying. He's okay with Electrocute, but overall, he's not as strong as some other picks, especially the tank picks that have been prevalent, like the Shen, like the Maokai.
And wow, I think we can all say that we're shocked by this Mordekaiser blind pick. I mean, I
Metal,
really say that this was unexpected.
metal, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. And the unique thing here is technically Jarvan's still a flex pick, as Mordekaiser can technically go mid.
Yeah, Mordekaiser can go mid. It's just that he gets bullied so hard mid that it's not really worth go. Oh, baby, we're getting a spicy team composition from the Rhombus heads as they just locked in the Katarina.
Absolutely.
Oh, baby, if that is a mid Mordekaiser, he's gonna have some fun there. And by fun, I mean that is going to be one of the worst lanes that could possibly come up for a Mordekaiser because he cannot touch Katarina.
Yeah,
Oh, and
absolutely.
Kled, they're just doubling down on making this Mordekaiser cry.
So something I want to point out though is that this Katarina was drafted against a team with a large amount of CC, so she will struggle to get a full channel of her ult off.
Yeah, you were correct though. That is a Mordekaiser mid. Overall, that's not the best pick. I say this is not a super amazing draft by either team. Honestly, I see what both teams can do, but however, one thing I'm seeing where can the damage come from? Where is the rest of it? Where's the engage coming from? Where's the tankiness coming from? If I'm looking at the Rhombus heads, I'm not seeing practically any tankiness. I'm seeing a lot of damage and a lot of engage between the charge, uh, the Xinjiao engage, the Rakan Grand Entrance. I'm seeing a lot of that, but I'm not seeing any tankiness. Whereas from the side of Come Dawn, I'm not seeing any long range damage other than that Varus. I don't see anything that really will allow you to sit there and let a Mordekaiser hammer on them. Yes, there is some CC, but I don't think that there is enough to lock down the sheer mobility of the Rhombus heads. So at the same time, I think that these comps are a little bit balanced out. I've it's going to be tricky overall. Also, the reason that I picked him, said Morid would get sort of cucked by Katarina is because of her ability to escape him.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that there's no long range damage really from Come Dawn aside from the Varus. I think it's key to point out that since the runes reforged, Varuses have now been going with the lethality build opposed to the on hit build that we saw for season 7. We're seeing a Yomu's rush and often a dust blade and just a full armor shred, often even paired with a tier, so as he can do max poke with his Q.
That is correct. I had almost forgotten about that. However, the build is still it's a little bit tit for tat because it does fall off a little bit harder into the game. When I say laning into it, I think purely about when looking at the lanes. I'm giving the lane advantage to the Xayah Rakan because anytime the Alistar engages upon him, there is a lot easier ability for the Xayah to have self peel and to be able to get out than will the Varus. Remember that she not only has Featherstorm, the Blade Caller route can stop a lot of engages. In addition, that Xayah, I'll say the fact that Xayah can stay a lot safer than the Varus can possibly turn this game. Xayah very good at being able to go up against tanks because of her ability to self heal.
Absolutely. I think it's also worth noting, though, that Team Rhombus has no true tank. They have a bruiser in the form of Kled, a bruiser in the form of Zinzao, and then really kind of a pseudo tank in Rakan, opposed to Kumdon with a very beefy front line all across.
Yeah, there is a very, very beefy front line, and depending on the Mordekaiser's build, that could be a more bulky Mordekaiser that we're seeing. I have seen a Mordekaiser mid go with a build that involves a Leandries, a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, just sort of, what's the word that I'm thinking of?
AP bruiser.
Yeah, that kind of AP Bruiser build, kind of like when a mid lane Shogath goes. Something along those lines that builds a lot of health going with it, because the fact that Mordekaiser still can synergize with that, with how much heal he has, how much damage he outputs. His base damages are still high when you get to that third auto attack on the Mace of Spades. It's just he doesn't deal a lot of range damage. He doesn't have any engage either.
Absolutely, and I think even what we see a lot of people do, or what I've seen, is a Gunblade rush on Mordekaiser to help with his healing, and then a Spirit Visage to amplify the Gunblade healing, which makes him incredibly tanky, while still dealing a decent amount of damage.
Most definitely.
So, Lots of build options though for the Mordekaiser. If he does go tanky or tankier, then their team probably will be lacking on DPS.
Yeah, I think that if that Mordekaiser falls behind, then the DPS will be a little bit too low to really work with. I think it's going to be very tricky, honestly. It's going to be a situation that will be interesting to see develop. However, it's not one that can't be worked out of. Every composition has potential to work. Again, potential to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think it's worth noting that this Mordekaiser will have to be careful with who he casts his ultimate on, because if he casts it on that Xin Zhao and then Xin Zhao ults, then Mordekaiser is no longer dealing damage to Xin Zhao unless he can stay within the radius of the Xin Zhao ult.
Yeah, I'm saying there. Also, another thing we have to look at is, despite that main source of damage being the Varus, the Xin Zhao will prevent a lot of the damage that comes in. There's not many other people that ultimate's going to really be effective against.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but I see on Team Rhombus head, as you mentioned, strong initiation with the Rakan, quickness, and grand entrance, and the Kled, of course, ulting in. But I really think that these team fights are going to swing on who can get the better engage.
Yeah, it really will go to it. I think the team fights, it's like you said, the team fights will go to whoever has the better engage. In addition, another thing we could see is the Katarina start to pick up more tank shredding items. Basically, if she can get to the Varus, she will be able to just shred anyone from both teams. I'll say from the rest of the team, because there won't be any damage to really deal with her. If you lock her down, she's done. She's dead. Varus can hop on her. Mordekaiser can hop on her. Jarvan can hop on her. She's super squishy, so she will be able to. However, if she's able to start that fight and pick off that person, then I think the fight is immediately over, just because of how much of the damage is focused into that one position.
Absolutely. And you did mention lock her down. We have to say that everybody on Come Dawn, save for Mordekaiser, has a form of hard crowd control. So it is going to be very difficult for this Katarina to not get locked down. I actually would not be surprised to even see her pick up something like a Quicksilver Sash, considering how much crowd control Come Dawn has.
The thing is, though, I could also see an early stopwatch, because of the fact that by the time the stopwatch ends, most of the time, the Katarina Shunpo could be right up. Another thing that we have been neglecting is the Kled pick. Kled into Poppy is in my opinion, a very skill-based matchup. In the early game, Kled stomps this. Kled is a very early game, mid-game based champion, and he does really well. Granted, he can't chase a Poppy as well because of her steadfast presence, but at the same time, Poppy doesn't have anything really to trade back effectively with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Poppy's mainly going to be relying on her passive to give her the ranged auto attack to really trade back in lane. And, I'll also be interested to see the Poppy build. I have been seeing some very carry-oriented Poppy builds with a Triforce Titanic build, and then I've also seen the Poppy builds of old, the Sunfire Iceborne build.
Yes, another thing is that the Poppy ultimate can be a good way to get rid of everyone but a Kled during the charge, because of the fact that it will not affect him, it will affect everyone else on the team, though. Which you could end up doing if you are the Poppy, is charge your ult up as soon as you hear that animation for Kled, and then charge it up, hit everyone but him, then leave him staring into the face of your entire team and kill him, instantly creating a 4v5. There are a lot of ways to pick players off from both teams through either CC, sheer damage, or just sheer assassination potential. I think that both of these teams drafted a support designed to engage, a top laner who can provide follow-up or initiating engage, a jungler who can also start an engage and immediately sort of zone everyone out, a mid laner that can do a lot of damage, albeit the Katarina will be a lot better in team fights than the Mordekaiser, and 80 carries who can take care of themselves and self-peel to an extent.
Absolutely. And honestly, I would not be surprised at all to see that Mordekaiser mid run TP. I didn't actually look to see what he was running.
He ran Ignite.
He went Ignite. That's actually very surprising to me. I would not have been surprised at all to see TP and see Come Dawn try to run a 1-3-1.
Potentially that could have happened. You could have built something like the Lich Bane, something like that. I would not have been surprised to see it all.
Well, I really don't think the Mordekaiser needs the Lich Bane so much as he just has the potential to shove waves so fast that he can shove and then look to rotate. It's very effective.
Yeah, I think that this Mordekaiser can be a split pushing threat. The only problem is that he might have a hard time 1v1ing some of the characters. Like Kled, once he gets to those mid-game power spikes, once he gets the Tiamat Black Cleaver, he will be able to do 1v1 pretty much everyone in the game if his violent tendencies is up. I don't really see him losing any sort of 1v1 to any champion from the side of Come Dawn. In addition, the Xin Zhao, if he took press the attack, then I could definitely see that being another champion that will be practically impossible to 1v1 because of his healing, his sheer damage output, things like that. So at the same time, while there is a strong potential for a 4-1 from the side of Come Dawn with the Mordekaiser split pushing, I don't really see it working out as well because of the fact that those members from I just forgot the name. The Rhombus heads really able to match it and then potentially kill.
Something I just thought of, talking differences though, that actually this Poppy is incredibly effective. I don't know because all of Team Rhombus had all members on their team have a dash of some sorts, and Poppy of course negates that.
Katarina's is actually a blink, so it is not negated by the steadfast presence, and I'm not sure if whether Zaya's is coded as a dash.
Right. Yeah, I was actually about to ask you about that. I'm very curious to see what the interaction will be between the Poppy, I believe it's the W, and then the Zaya, of course, R, to see if that will stop it or not.
Allow me to research, as the numbers guy and the research guy. Leaps into the air, becoming untargetable. It is... it just renders an untargetable duration. It is not coded as a dash, as far as I can tell.
Right. And, before too, which changing subjects here, you spoke of nobody on Team Rhombus Head being able, on Team Come Dawn to be able to 1v1 Team Rhombus Head's Kled. It's going to be interesting to see what build path this Kled chooses. You mentioned the Tiamat and Black Cleaver, and while those two are pretty standard, I know I've personally seen Kleds then go into the more traditional tank items, a Randuin's, a Spirit Visage, etc. But then I've also seen some Kleds go for a more carry-oriented build of, say, a Youmuu's and a Death's Dance.
Yeah, Kled does do it, but I still feel like the first two items you should go for are the Tiamat and the Tiamat into the Titanic Hydra and the Black Cleaver, just because of how well those items synergize with Kled. As someone, I would say one of my good friends is a very strong Kled main, and he has been teaching me Kled. I'm not going to say I'm anywhere near him, but I trust his opinion on anything Kled, and he says the best two items on him are a Titanic Hydra and Black Cleaver, and then you can go into something pretty much whatever you want as long as it's a one damage item, and then you could build a couple of Bruiser - tank items after that. It's getting there. So as we load into game, we're going to introduce the teams. I'll start on the blue side. On the blue side, we have the Rhombus heads with Bomb Bomb on the top lane Kled. We have the OG Tim on the jungle Xin Zhao. We have Shrek Wazowski, I want to say, on the mid lane Katarina. We have Kuki on these 80 carry Zaya, and White Gold on the support Rakan.
Absolutely. And then for Come Dawn, we have G Topher on the top lane on his Poppy, XNA Decane on the jungle Jarvan, Kitros on the mid Mordekaiser, Jay-Z Bai rounding out 80 carry with Varus, and then I Save My Team, the true support on Alistar. And right now we had a small invade there from the Xin Zhao and Kled, although it seems nothing was gained by that.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a hard enough invade if there had been 5 people there. Neither of these compositions really are designed to invade well. They don't really have that initial lockdown CC. The closest you could get is the Kled pull, but there's not really any follow-up CC at level 1 for them to be able to, I guess, capitalize upon it.
Right, absolutely. I think the main threat would have been as if Rakan was there, starting with his grand entrance, but Rakan was not, so they would just do standard leashes on both sides.
Also,
both bot lanes pulling.
I would like to inform you that I will admit I was wrong. A Blaze Olive went to TSM.
Absolutely, and a Blaze Olive is a very, very big TSM.
I just want to say that. I apologize. Going into this game, what we should look for at early levels is look for the Kled to start trying to bully at the Poppy. We should look for the Xayah to start trying to clear a little bit better than the Varus, just because her clear is on a much lower cooldown. However, it won't work for the Poppy getting bullied out if the Kled misses the bear trap on a rope like that.
Absolutely, and I think it's also worth noting that Poppy did not go for the standard Doran shield, instead opting for the corrupting pot. Kind of a different start.
It is a different start, but it's not one that I haven't seen. It does provide a little bit more consistent sort of fighting ability for the Poppy. This
Absolutely.
is definitely the situation you want if you're Poppy. You want Kled off with Skarl, because this is where he's weak. You can bully him in this situation.
Absolutely, and Kled will have to make sure to stay away from those walls, but actually Zinzao is wrapping around right now through the Tri-Brush, and it appears that the Poppy does not realize it. And Skarl remounts, and Zhao's looking to dash in, but the Poppy flashes away, and it does no good, and Zinzao captures first blood, and meanwhile there's a fight mid. Both Ignites have been used, and Kitros will get the solo kill while Rakan's initiating on Varus in the bot lane, and both bot lanes are looking to disengage, should I say.
Yes, and I would like to mention that mid lane kill was a straight 1v1. What happened is that Shrek Wazowski went in and was not able to get enough follow-up damage. He ran from the Mordekaiser third Q proc, which allowed the Ignite to sort of tick him down and just deal out that last bit of damage, whereas Kitros had enough health to survive the encounter.
Absolutely, and I also think it's worth noting that Shrek burned both summoners, whereas Kitros got to save his flash. And right now, it appears as if the Alistar possibly messed up his combo bot lane, or perhaps was just looking to knock him away.
Potentially, there's always the potential for that. Hey, if you can hear us right now, turn off the time controls on the stream. Sorry, that was for our streamer. I apologize for that, everybody.
Right now, another fight top lane, and G Cobra is just getting absolutely abused. He had no flash, easy repeat gank from the Zinzao. And that's a 2-0 Zinzao, and not what you want to see from the side of Kumzan.
No, and does Zinzao go Warrior, or does he go for the Blood Razor? I'm not sure myself.
You know, I think we're seeing most Zinzaos go with, if they go Blood Razor, I have seen Triforce going for more an attack speed, DPS build, and if they go Warrior, I see Black Cleaver. So I think it'll be
the standard build I'm seeing is either way Warrior and Triforce, the first two items, and that's not something you want to be in the face of.
And there's an engaged bot lane as well, when that comment hits. Alistar is rooted though, and he's looking to just disengage and walk away with the shield saving Xayah from Rakan. Both teams just looking to trade back and forth and get any advantage they can. The Alistar flash has been blown earlier in the trade, so he will have to play safe now, being down that summon.
Yeah, he will have to be safe with it. He will need to sort of play a little bit more passive, because if this Xin Zhao does come down, which he is at the moment, then you could definitely see him go in on either the Varus or the Alistar.
Absolutely, and right now this Mordekaiser is actually abusing this Katarina and flashes for the third Q and the solo kill on Shrek Wazowski with no summoners.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason Kat can sometimes do well with the Mordekaiser is because of the fact that she can dash away. It doesn't really work when you dash into the Mordekaiser. Yeah. In addition, that dark seal you have right now on the Katarina, it's about going to be useless at this point, taking 0-2.
Right, and Kled right now looking to go aggressive on Poppy, but he gets dismounted and Poppy gets her passive shield to grant her some extra durability.
Yeah, and if that fight does occur again, you could see go for the extra kill damage and able to be a kill. We are seeing Decane roam up, so there is a definite possibility that this could be a kill on this fight, but we're getting to fight bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely, and that Alistar is rooted, and right now the Grand Entrance hits on Varus, and looks like, and that's actually a two-man knockup from the Alistar. Well played there. Xayah forced the field to get away, but actually move to top lane. It looks like they're going in on the Kled, but Poppy almost knocks him out, but is actually able to get the kill for G Topher.
I think that was very cocky by Bomb to hold the flash that long. He thought he would survive it and then just be able to get back stall. But instead what happened is you just give the kill over to Gopher and just kind of allow him a little bit of ability to catch up to you. The CS differential at one point was a positive 13 for Bomb. Now it is practically even, and Gopher still had a charge of his corrupting pot. He has his aftershock, so he'll just be able to get back to lane. Another thing, we haven't seen Bomb use his teleport to get back to lane, so once he hits level 6, you could definitely see a TP bot lane into a charge that could result in both bot laners from the side of Come Dawn Die.
Absolutely, and also think it's worth noting that this is actually, right now it looks as if the Kane's looking to gank Katarina, although decides better against it, and Kled will just start clearing a control board on top side.
Yes, another thing, we are seeing Kled go for an early cloth armor. I'm not really sure about that pick. Again, the standard Kled build I've been taught was Tiamat into Black Cleaver. That way you have the early clear, you're able to push waves, and your violent tendencies stings with Tiamat. So from there, you're just able to snowball out the lane to an extent, especially if you're any sort of ahead like the Kled is at the moment. So from there, I'm kind of surprised to see that Ruby Crystal also in his inventory.
Yeah, I think that Ruby Crystal is just more for the early phase, the movement speed to get out of the Poppy, and the cloth armor I'm pretty sure will be going towards a Ninja Tab Eye, considering it's a double 80 top side.
Most likely, that's probably.
And right now, actually, Katarina's going aggressive on the Mordekaiser because she has the gank to follow up. Both burn Ignite, and the Triumph will actually not save Katarina as the Mordekaiser ult takes her out. And as well, we're trading pretty aggressively here top with G Topher having the level advantage on Kled.
Yeah, he does have the level advantage, but the Kled will still be able to 1v1 if push comes to shove, just because it is Kled versus Poppy.
Right now, actually, we have a high bot lane as well, and Alistar lands that knockup, and there comes the Xin Zhao ult as well as the Xayah ult. The exhaust goes down, and it looks like they'll be able to get the kill with the dunk. Rakan's forced to flash out, and they're looking to disengage, and perhaps this will be an Infernal Dragon as well.
Yeah, this Infernal Drake would be a very good thing for them to start picking up, seeing as every member except for DK is at over half health. So, plus the fact that Gopher has teleport, that would have been a very easy Infernal Drake to secure. I'm not sure whether the team just decided, okay, we can't fight this, or this isn't the best situation, but...
Right, and actually this Poppy was just forced to burn ultimate top lane, but Kled looking like he actually cannot continue and get the kill on the Poppy, although Poppy does burn that hammer smash to knock Kled up.
One of the things that's going on in this matchup is Bomb is disrespecting the percent health damage that is done by Gopher's Q. A lot of people forget that Poppy's Q does percent health damage, and
yeah, absolutely.
It does a lot
and
of
Mordekaiser is actually just abusing this Katarina mid lane. Katarina was forced to go with the Hex Drink her first buy, which does not feel good. That is not part of her Gunblade components.
I think as with that Katarina, you could have also possibly gone Banshee's Veil if you really wanted. I would say it started with those components of Banshee's Veil, like the Negatron Cloak, to prevent it, but you never know. I think the early Magic Resist would have done him well, because that way he would have been able to stop the AP that's coming from the Dark Seal in addition to the Hextech Revolver, but he's in trouble.
Yeah, both junglers right now actually looking for a gank mid lane, but Alistar's actually running from behind. There comes one from Katarina. Jarvan's looking to follow him. There's Alistar with a 2-man knockup right now. The Xin Zhao ult to keep himself alive. He dashes to the cannon minion to get away. Looks like right now that Come Dawn will satisfy themselves with just Katarina dead and see what else that they can get off of that.
Also, can we just talk about for a second that Xin Zhao animation when he's walking away with the empowered auto attack? It is so funny to see him basically like move like an 8-bit character. But yeah, honestly, very good roam there from I Saved My Team. Definitely helping out his team a great deal. And if he catches either of them, which it looks like he's not going to be able to, they are going to rotate for the Infernal Drake. It would be really good. They did get first tower though, so overall, this mid lane is really helping them win. This Mordekaiser pick I kind of dismissed at first because I'm in silver. I don't really see Mordekaiser's carry. My bad. So
yeah, absolutely.
I would say he's definitely coming in strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks though like Team Rhombus Head is not willing to give away this Infernal Drake for free. Xin Zhao is alive and he's making his way towards the dragon. It looks as if Come Dawn is pulling it out. And the dragon is actually going to reset aggro, so they're going to have to hurry right now. And it appears as if they secure it with actually no fight.
Yeah, the fact that there wasn't a fight there was actually smart from the side of Rhombus.
Yeah, absolutely. We see some aggressive trading going on top side, and Mordekaiser, though, walking into mid with that dragon is actually just forcing Katarina to leave. She actually cannot lane against Mordekaiser now.
Yeah, not only is he a level up, he is 13 CS up. He is 3 kills to 0. So his Dark Sun is 3 stacks. I think eventually that will be sold because it isn't really going to get to the point where it'll turn into a Medjai's effectively. So
yeah, absolutely. And these top lane trades, they were going a lot better for Poppy than perhaps we expected. She is actually kind of bullying this Kled.
Well, part of the phage, the early phage rush for the Kled is that you want that movement speed off of killing minions. Except you're not able to get up and kill the minions. That's why you take it right now.
Jarvan actually is going in on the jungle, as well as Rakan going in, and Xayah. The dunk comes in to secure the Xayah kill, and Rakan's is forced to try to run away with the quickness, but he cannot. And Mordekaiser will take a double kill to be 5-1. Right now, Come Dawn is just dominating, with Poppy going aggressive on Kled topside as well.
Yeah, basically with Come Dawn is able to rotate around the map better. They're coordinating their movements a lot better than the side of the Rhombus Heads. It's just not working out as well. And while the overall draft and the team fight idea was there for the Rhombus Heads, they're not executing the macro to be able to support their team to get to that point. Right now, it's all, I say, it's 100% Come Dawn, and it's easy to see why when you look at the KDAs. A 3-0-3 Jarvan, a 5-1-2 Mordekaiser, an 0-0-3 Varus, an 0-0-4 Alistar. There's a lot going for Come Dawn right now. And seeing as they have decent scaling, this is not a composition you want to be in this situation against, especially when they have an Infernal Drake.
Absolutely. I also think it's worth pointing out that this Varus has decided to go with the lethality and tier build. Do you think that that was the right call here, Hyper?
You said go with the lethality build?
Yes. Oh, and actually Alistar just missed his combo on the Katarina. Definitely a bit of a mess up there.
I think the lethality build is especially good against squishy champions. And given that there is no true tank for the side of the Rhombus Heads, I think the lethality build is actually the better build in this situation. You don't need the on-hit damage. Have the lethality to burst them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alistar right there lands a 2-man knockup, but Rakan's able to use his W to get over the wall, and it looks like right now that Come Dawn's wanting to transition either to this top lane tower or towards the Rift Herald.
Yeah, one thing I will say is the incredible rotations that we're seeing from Come Dawn. These are very good rotations that we're seeing, and honestly, there's no response from the Rhombus Heads. They're giving up yet another tower. This is 3 towers to 0 for the side of Come Dawn, and you just see how good they're rotating around the map. They're putting their carries where they need to be to take these towers.
Absolutely. Although I think it's worth noting, this Jarvan cannot hold mid against the Katarina and the Xin Zhao. So it looks like Team Rhombus Head will be trading back that mid lane tower.
Yeah, so you do see that mid lane tower go... did it go down? It did, yes.
It did.
Again, just looking at this overall, we're still seeing just such better rotations. Save? What you doing, buddy?
Oh, Alistar with the flank, though, actually top lane. And he's looking to fight. Xayah forced to ult away, and he pulverizes. Oh, actually, Rakan's able to use his E to escape. And right now, though, Katarina actually shut down the Jarvan mid lane. So that's actually a much-needed kill for Katarina to get back going.
Yes, but at the same time, she does need to get rid of that Dark Seal. She's not getting fed enough with how far behind she is. She needs to start building into that Gunblade or something like the Banshee's Veil to protect her from the Mordekaiser. She just needs something going for her. I don't think you need to still have that Dark Seal on you.
I think she has the Dark Seal right now because it's her only form of AP. She just picked up Sword Pin Boots, which I think was very smart, and she was able to transition those two long swords into the Bilgewater Cutlass, which is a component of the Hextech Gunblade.
Yes, and again, you have to get that Gunblade for Katarina, but again, you're so far behind.
Right.
I said, this is just so far behind. I don't know whether or not you go for that offensive item as opposed to a more mixed defensive defensive and offensive thing like the Banshees are. Again, I think that with how far behind you are, you have to consider that.
Right, absolutely. And actually right now, Alistar lands his combo on the Kled, and he's going to force Kled to use his ultimate to get away where he cannot be displaced and stunned by the Alistar E. Smart move from Kled, though, to escape that.
Yeah, and the Mordekaiser is just... I say the Mordekaiser is just a threat moving around, so any follow-up that these frontline tanks start, it just immediately comes from the Mordekaiser from right behind them. So if you get locked down by either the Jarvan or the Alistar, Mordekaiser or Varus will be happy to shove death down your throat.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also worth noting that Mordekaiser did decide to go with the Gunblade, and they have secured Rift Herald, and he has the components of either what is a Rylai's or a Leandri's next. Right now, though, the Poppy is actually just forced to flash out of the Rakan using the Poppy ultimate, but it looks like they're still chasing that. Those Chains of Corruption miss, and here comes the dunk from Jarvan. Xin Zhao's fighting. He uses his ultimate and flashes away. And right now, though, Rakan uses his quickness, gets a small combo, as well as the Blade Caller from Xayah, and they look to disengage and not continue this fight.
Yeah, however, overall, that is a win for the side of Come Dawn. They got 2 flashes from White Gold and the OG Tim to the 1 from Gopher. Honestly, overall, a very good engage there, chasing off the side of the Rhombus heads and able to secure a second Drake here, the Ocean Drake. Not a Drake that you should laugh at. It's not something like the Cloud Drake where it's basically useless.
Right. I think it's also worth noting, though,
moderately useful.
Well, and the thing is, though, is when you have a Mordekaiser on your team, any dragon's useful.
Very much so. I forgot about the Mordekaiser bit. I don't know how I did, but I did forget about the fact that it is Mordekaiser.
Right. So they're putting on a 3-man siege bottom right now with the Rift Herald and the Mordekaiser Dragon. This is very scary. I'm not sure how they're going to answer this.
Hey, when the jungle comes to push your towers in, that is what that's supposed to. Oh my god.
Yeah, right now. Oh, the Alistar flank into Xayah isn't able to ult to get out of it. Right now, though, the Poppy's chasing, and the Chains of Corruption landed. Kled's dismounted. They're looking to go on Kled. Kled dies. Varus is able to tank the tower and live. Mordekaiser throwing the thumbs up to them for a little BM there at the end.
Yeah, also, would you mind telling me what time you were at?
I am at 1848.
You were behind me.
Okay.
By about 6 seconds.
Okay. I have fast-forwarded. I am now at 1902.
Yeah, also, on the stream, can you fast-forward as well? Nothing is happening in the past few seconds, so go ahead and fast-forward so that way everyone is on the same time thing. Apologies for the technical difficulties here, guys. Different internet connections will result in the different timings on these sometimes. Not really sure what's going on with that. But one thing that is for sure is that the side of Come Dawn has effectively established their dominance in this game. They just took a tower by getting the jungle to help them out between Rift Herald and Dragon. It's honestly not looking good. It's really not looking good for the side of the Rhombus heads in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you notice that this Katarina is a very feast or famine character. She only just now completed her first item.
Yeah, I say Katarina, I hate the fact that she hasn't completed anything because she can't, and she finally completes the Gunblade. It's about time, though. She hadn't completed anything. And
we actually see, though, right now, this Poppy. Oh, the Alistar and the Poppy managed to block the Kled ultimate. Do not let him escape. He's dismounted. Alistar flashes forward to get the stun. Poppy stuns into the wall as well, and they're just going to batter him down with this wet noodle fight that they have going. And right now, though, the Katarina looking to go in, but she is just dunked by Jarvan and deleted. Xin Zhao's ultimate will not save them when they are within the radius. And right now, the Katarina, for the side of Team Come Dawn, is chasing down Team Rhombus head.
Thinking emote? Katarina thinking emote? Not sure what was... No, I'm saying the way that Katarina just jumped into 4 members of the side of Come Dawn, including 2 tanks. Thinking emote?
Yeah, absolutely. And Alistar right there misses another combo. You know, this Alistar has had some good flanks and all, but I think it is worth noting that he has not been the most clean on his combos this game.
No, but he has been clean in places where it counts. He has been able to provide his team, but he's not the engage that Decane has been in this game. I saved my team. While you may be doing that, you're not sort of doing it like
Absolutely.
There's another.
And right now, Jarvan's actually going in on this Xin Zhao, and Xin Zhao has no ultimate, and so Varus actually will snipe him, and it appears as if they'll get tier 2 top tower for no retaliation from Team Rhombus Head.
Jay-Z with the easy snipe there, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. That Q does lots of damage from Varus, and actually they're going on Katarina right now, and the flash change of corruption from Varus, securing the kill on Katarina, and they're looking to chase down. Rakan landing his combo, although it is just not enough. Xayah ults, but she just has no damage. I mean, this is really just a good effort, I guess, but just there's no kick behind all this from Team Rhombus.
There's no tank.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this Xin Zhao probably should have adapted. He's still going for his Triforce right now.
I think if anything should have adapted, it should have been the Katarina in this situation. The Xin Zhao is probably the only member of the side of the Rhombus Heads that is dealing out any sort of significant damage. They're going for Baron now. They're going to get this.
Absolutely, that Kled ultimate was coming into it, and he's tanking quite a bit, but the Poppy's just sniping him, and the dunk gets a kill. Oh, man. This Kled can't go anywhere. That's another kill, and it looks now they'll just be turning back on Baron.
The OG Tim and Bomb were going boom, boom, boom.
This is actually a surrender from Team Rhombus Head. So this is good game.
GG, everyone, and that is a game 1. Rhombus Head surrender. Wow, that was not something I expected to see tonight. I did not think that I would see a surrender, but given how one side of the game was, I guess I'm not surprised a little bit.
Absolutely. I expect to be seeing some target bans from Team Rhombus next time they play Cumdon.
You know what they really have to ban? I'll say, if there was one pick, I would call. It's actually not the Mordekaiser, believe it or not. That's not what I'm...
Would it be the Jarvan?
It is the Jarvan. If I was giving an MVP for the game, which I'm not, I'm going to give an MVP for the entire match. My MVP for the game would definitely be Decane on that Jarvan. Whenever there was an engage needed, he was there. Whenever there was a little bit of finishing damage needed, he was there. Honestly, Decane was so good in that game that you have to consider taking away this Jarvan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also worth noting he went for the very selfless build for Jarvan, not choosing to go for the Warrior, instead going for the Cinder Hulk, not choosing something like a Black Cleaver, and instead opting out for a Knight's Vow.
Yeah, I think that Knight's Vow was definitely one of the things that allowed him to just further boost this Varus and this Mordekaiser to carry the game. Damage-wise, I would say overall, I think that it was great. Now, however, we are going to take a short break. Also, we would like to announce the winner of the first RP prize. The first RP prize is Wonger Boy. I will type it into the Twitch chat. Wonger Boy, you are the winner. I would say congratulations to Wonger Boy for a 10 RP award.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, very good game from our teams here for the first game. I think that we're going to see some adaptations for the rest of the match.
Yeah, I would say in that time, I say now that has been done, we will take a short break. We will go right back. I said we'll be right back, but we're going to take a short break to set everything up for the second set of games. I've been Hypertension here with Voodoo. We'll be right back, guys.